Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Welcome back to Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, we are talking about marketing and building a brand. Every single one of you, whether you work for yourself or you work for somebody else, you have a personal brand. And those that can define it and figure out their skill sets and build it will be financially free. I'm not kidding. We all are a personal brand, whether we like it or not. And where we are marketing and presenting ourselves and figuring out our customers' pain points is really what's going to make somebody thrive or not. And the other thing too is like we talk about how I think everybody's sitting on one great idea. And the difference between those who do it, those who don't, are those who have the power to execute and the belief. So this is a great episode if you are wanting to build a personal brand, if you have an idea and you want to build a brand. And she is somebody who has sold her first company. This is now her second company, that really kind of steps in and guides you. She focuses on female founders to get that message out, because when we connect with our audience, that is when the revenue goes through the roof. So it's very important. You can't connect with everybody, but you need to figure out who your audience is to connect with them. So you will absolutely love this episode. If you are thinking about a brand, if you've thought about a brand, if you just want to market yourself, market anything, then make sure to listen to this episode. So we will be right back after this brief message with our guest on this episode of Next to Madison.
It's your host, Madison Malloy, and I have exciting news. My new product is now available on Amazon called Color Your Way to Abundance, a 21-day manifestation guide for wealth, health, and love. This unique coloring journal will help you manifest by coloring in the affirmations while you continue to repeat them. This will help activate these affirmations so they become a reality. Grab your copy today and relax, color, and start manifesting.
We are back with our amazing guest. She is the founder of With Mari. She is also the former co-founder of Her Brand & Co., which was acquired. So she's had an exit strategy. She is a marketing guru genius. So if you want to build a brand for yourself or market your business, this episode is absolutely for you. If you're a human being that wants to make more money, this is for you. So basically, this is for everybody. So very exciting. I sometimes butcher people's last names, and I feel like I might do it or I might not. So we're going to see. So welcome to the show, Mari Milenkovic. Milenkovic. Got
it. Thanks, Madison. So happy to be here.
Likewise. I'm so happy to have you because you are like a marketing guru. Like people hire you, businesses hire you, and they say, okay, how can we best market our brand to get out there, to stand for something, to make money? So let's just get into that. First, I want to talk about like your background. What makes you credible to do this? That's what we'll start with.
Absolutely. Well, I co-founded, built and sold Her Brand & Co., a marketing education platform for early stage female founders, through which my co-founder and I educated thousands of female founders across the world. So that is the education background. That was the one-to-many approach. Our goal was to democratize access to marketing education, trusted, real, not get rich in 24 hours type of marketing education, right? So we did that. We partner with great businesses like Amazon Small Business Academy, Goodwill, tons of organizations like the Women Business Enterprise National Council. And through it, we were able to educate so many women, which was amazing. My background before that was also in marketing. So I worked with small businesses. I worked in higher education. So education has been a big part of my life for a while.
Yeah. And so why is marketing so important? Obviously, it's to get the word out about your business, but
really, yeah, I mean, it's critical. Marketing and sales are critical for any business to survive, right? Founders are typically so passionate about what they do and what they build, whether it's a service or a product. It is part of you. It's very personal. And a lot of founders thrive in the building phase of their business. But when it comes to selling whatever it is that they built and that they're so happy to get out into the world, that's where it kind of falls flat. And ultimately, you need revenue. ultimately, if you want to, continue doing what you love and building this business and serving the customer that you want and love, you need marketing and sales.
Oh, 100%, right? It's like a business without leads is nothing. And you get those leads from marketing yourself because there is so much competition out there. And what makes you set you apart is part of your marketing strategy. So when
Absolutely.
you work with businesses, how do you kind of find that distinction that sets them
Yeah.
apart?
Yeah. So this is where understanding your customer is critical, right? So you need to understand the customer better than you know yourself. And this is not the demographics of how old are they and what is their income? No, we're talking about what are their pains, like what really is hurting them day to day, and how is your product or service solving that pain?
Love
And what
that.
are their desired gains, right? So, what are they looking to accomplish that, again, your product or service can help them do? And it's really about positioning your marketing language and your marketing strategies around this concept of I am here to serve my customer and to make their life easier and remove any barriers for them to even consider a different option, right? Because this is the right option, this is the right solution to either solve that pain or provide that gain. And I will say, Madison, too, a lot of founders say, well, I make jewelry or I have a product business that is more of a luxury. I am not saving people's lives, right? So how do I position my product to stand out?
Yeah.
And ultimately, people people are looking for a solution for something regardless of what it is that you're selling. So even if you're like, I'm not curing cancer, that's okay. Your jewelry can still be a change driver and a change maker for your customer. It could provide sense of belonging, it could provide status, it could provide making them feel good about themselves, about what it is that they're going to do and improve their confidence, what it is that they need, that they're looking for, that your product or service is fixing for them or providing for them. And that's really what's going to start with that brand awareness, which is at the top of the marketing funnel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean that is the thing. It's like a jewelry would like have they're so, people would say, or even skincare, like it's such a saturated market.
Mhm.
But yet we see new jewelry and new skincare lines pop up all the time and become very successful.
Mhm.
What is the thing that makes them pop versus other ones that just disappear?
All flat. Yeah. Man, from my experience working with, thousands of funders for the past couple of years, for the past decade, really, um, it depends on how much the founder is involved in the beginning of the business to really get the product out into the market. What I see happen a lot is that fallacy of I built it, they should come, right? I built
Yeah,
it,
no, no,
it's
yeah.
amazing. They'll show up, they'll come across my website or find me on Instagram or whatever it is. And the reality is that that is not the case. So it's really about being out there. You are the best person to sell your product and your service to the customer that you're looking for. And trying to saturate the market with your early adopters first. So, who are the people that are actively looking for this solution for the skincare piece, this type of jewelry? That you don't have to educate, you don't have to convince. It doesn't have to be something that you have to do a lot of work to get them into that door first. And
Right.
then those are the customers that are then going to help you cross the chasm into the majority, right? Because if we try to get all the way to the other side, try to hit the masses, you're not going to have clear messaging. Your customer is not going to be, they're not going to understand why. So you're going to have to spend a lot of money and time on education. And ultimately, you're not going to be able to saturate. So it's like incremental progress.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what if somebody's building a brand around themselves? Like if,
Totally. Personal
you know,
brand.
yeah, like your personal brand, obviously the influencer world has become very popular. Who knows where that will go with AI, but right now it's about creating a brand, showing up on social media or your website with a clear-cut message of solving a pain point. So what is your advice? Because I feel like even though we're all walking around and we have different things, we are our own brands.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
all are a
Absolutely.
brand. And
Yes.
those who really make it and have that financial freedom tap in and know how to capitalize on their brand.
Yeah,
So what is your
absolutely.
advice to people like that? And you can use me as an example, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. So you made me smile, Madison, because it made me think of one of the very first uh, presentations classes that I ever taught was on personal branding. And this was back in my higher education. So at least 10 to 12 years ago.
Okay.
And personal branding is all about trust, right? It's all about standing for something. It's about creating those, what is it, what I'm thinking of? Uh, Action words that people immediately connect you with, right? So it's showing up constantly with these different attributes that should be immediate for people to say, when I think of Madison, I think of A, B, C, D. These are the attributes that represent Madison. And when we show up to any interaction, whether it's social, in person, via your email marketing or your website, you should be embodying these attributes that really build that trust around how it is that you're going to show up for people, or how your brand is going to show up for people and your customers. So ultimately, people connect with people. That really is, the reality, especially in a saturated market. So what is it that for you are your core pillars? What is it that you truly believe, your values? That's a really important piece of understanding what you stand for. And how are you then communicating that in a way that is trustworthy, right? Like you're actually doing it intentionally.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So how does one build the confidence to say people can trust me? Because I think a lot of people are out there just collecting a check, right? And we're
Yeah.
talking like people that are especially working in corporate America. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
how do people get that confidence,
Yeah.
you know?
So So normally when you build trust is about authority and empathy, right? So to do that, how do you create authority around your craft, around your expertise? And how do you show up in a way that you show empathy, right? That you
Yep.
understand the problem that your customer is facing. So what would this look like for you specifically, right? So if we're using you as an example,
Okay.
what some authority pieces? Authority can be in the form of customer testimonials. It can be in the form of, how somebody has developed. So like for me, in my brand, it'd be like a case study, right? I worked with X brand. We did this type of strategy with these results, right?
Right. Yeah.
It could also be in the form of partnerships. So, who do you work with that trusts you? So, anytime that you have a partnership, you are now leveraging the trust that that business or person, if they're a personal brand, has created with their audience and their customers. So, that gives you an elevated notion of trust at that point and authority, because you can leverage if B person trusts Madison, and this community of a million people trust this company or this person, then you are now elevated. It's kind of like a referral, right? So like if you're thinking
Yeah.
about full referrals or word of mouth, same. That's another way that you can create authority. And obviously there's the media pieces, right? So um, whether it's earned or paid media, what does that look like? And how does that increase your authority as well?
Okay, very well said. Um, yeah, I like the whole like building trust. And I think if you're gonna build trust with an audience, you have to trust yourself first.
100%.
You
100%.
know, because it's like everybody wants to have that $1 million idea or
Yeah.
multi-million dollar idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but so many people, I always had this theory that like I think that everybody's sitting on one great idea.
Hmm.
And the only ideas that we see that actually come to life are the ones of the people that had the confidence to bet on themselves
Yeah.
and didn't let the external noise and the factors or what people were going to think, which is the biggest thing that'll hold you back in everything that you do,
Hmm.
hold them back. So it's kind of like, what are some tips that people can build confidence to take
Yeah.
that risk, to build that brand, whether it's a tangible brand or a
Hmm.
non-tangible brand?
That is such a great question. I was listening to your episode on validation, and it
Okay,
makes
thank
made me think
you.
makes me think of that piece of like they kind of go hand in hand, right? Like trusting yourself that you can do this, but are you looking for external validation or internal validation in this realm? And it depends, right? It depends on what you need as a person. I think every person is different. I agree that everyone has something to offer. The question is, are they ready to bring it out, right? To like birth this concept and this offer. I always say to the customers, to my clients that are kind of like threading the waters on selling their product or service. And it's like, if you truly believe that what you are doing is helpful to someone, to the customer that you love, and you're not actively selling it, you're doing people a disservice. You are in the way of the solution that you so know that they already need and are looking for, but you're getting in the way of that.
Yeah, so think of it as like you not, if this is going to solve something or help somebody and you not doing it is actually a very selfish act.
Correct.
And I feel like that could be the ass kicker that needs you to get to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we think selling is selfish. We think that being successful in our business is selfish, right? It's self-serving. But when you really think, I mean, when I work with clients, I say this all the time, is like, I'm not only worried about my marketing, I take everyone's marketing as my own. So it's like I have, I'm working with right now because I'm high touch about 8 clients at a time. I have 8 little companies, you know what I mean? That I want to make successful. But if you're looking at it as, oh, this is self-serving, it's not, right? For me, it's like I want my clients to be successful. And similarly, for somebody that's either with a personal brand or you're inspiring people or you are selling a product, you are ultimately getting in the way of them getting to that solution. So that seems to trigger something when we have that conversation with when clients and I have that conversation. That's really special.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is true. And I think if people thought about that, they would, get out of their own way, so to say, because
Mhm.
so many people are in their own way. So when you take on a client, what are the things you're looking for and what kind of advice are you giving to them?
Yeah. It is so tailored to each client and business. And I say both because, like I mentioned earlier, business is so personal. And I work with solo founders, likely they may have a small team, but these are not big corporations, right? These are businesses that have been around for maybe 5 years, 5 to 7 years. So there is the personal factor and then there's the business factor. And not every marketing strategy works for every person or for every business, respectively, right? Just to give you an example, I talk to a lot of founders who want nothing to do with social media. They do not want to be influencers, right? Like they're like,
Right.
no, this is not how I am going to align myself and how I want to grow my business in a way that it's sustainable, that really fills my cup. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not even on social media. So not a problem.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We can figure that out. Social is great for a lot of reasons, and I don't
Oh, it's changed people's lives. Yeah.
it has
And brands.
absolutely 100%. And I think there's a lot of validity and strength in social for a lot of brands and founders. However, it can also be crippling to many. So I just give that example as it's not a one size fits all. And even when when my co-founder and I were building her brand and co and the marketing education that we were providing to founders there at that stage, it was very much like this, that your business needs to serve your life, not the other way around. A lot of female founders are,
That was so well said.
yeah, they're building lifestyle businesses for the most part, right? Like, yeah, some of them want to exit. Yeah, some of them are, VC backed and they're fundraising and they're building tech companies. But for the most part, if your business is not serving your life, ultimately, why are we here? Right. So having that conversation with yourself and figuring out what that actually looks like. So we start by doing an audit. What has been working, what hasn't been working. Normally, when I am working with clients one-on-one, they already have a lead gen strategy that's into place, right? Like they have some level of brand awareness and some people are interested. So there's product market fit, right? So people are willing to pay for the product or service that you are offering to some extent. And then we're really trying to figure out how do we optimize, systematize, and automate that piece, the brand awareness piece, the lead gen piece, so that then we can focus on the nurturing and sales, which is the final pieces of the funnel. they're all at different stages. They all have different resources, right? Whether it's time, money, team. So got to figure out how to make those puzzle pieces fit.
Kind of, yeah, and it's all, yeah, it's kind of like every brand is like its own unique DNA,
Mhm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how, because obviously if you're a product, like you need to have at least a product page on social, because you
Mhm.
don't want to get lost. So how do you see AI
Mhm.
impacting a lot of these businesses that you
Yeah.
work with? And I always tell people like, why are you afraid of AI? Embrace it
I love
and I
AI.
love it too. And get used to it. And if it's going to
Yeah.
take your job, then your job wasn't that you need to
Pivot.
adapt and pivot to something else and learn and not be stuck in such you know, a
Yeah.
rigid structure.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's like the a lot of the jobs, like the people that delivered newspapers. I mean, half of
Mhm.
them are out of job. Nobody really even reads a
Yeah,
newspaper. In
anytime
fact,
there's industry shift, right? Like anytime there's some sort of progress, some jobs are lost, some jobs are created, and really the people that thrive are the ones that are able to adapt and adapt early. So yeah, I mean, I embrace AI. I love AI. I think it's going to be a game changer for female founders in general. I mean, even for me and the way that I run my business, I can work so much faster. I mean, just the fact that I have my note taker send to-dos at the end of every meeting, so I don't have to write
yeah.
a recap. That's huge. That's
Oh,
like 30 minutes for every client, every client meeting. So it's like, yeah, take
yeah.
my money. Let's do it that way because that means I can take another client. That means I can actually spend more time doing things that are impacting more women. And I'm all about it. Also, the thing with AI though is the personalization aspect because again, we are in such a saturated market of all the things, right? Products and services. There's tons of offers out there doing same or similar things. The AI is yet another way where personalization can be stripped if you're not extra intentional at the queuing.
Prompts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the prompts, right? So I, for example, have you just have to play the game, right? So what is it that you are? Who is your customer? What is your offer? How are you changing their lives? All of this content needs to live in a way that whatever you're using for AI can use that. And basically that needs to be the driver for any type of content instead of I need to write an email on, 3 great podcast episodes, that I'm pitching to so and so. Like there needs the values need to be there, the customer needs to be there, and the transformation needs to be there.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, I think everybody would benefit from like taking an online like AI
Mm-hmm.
course because it's like you get right now it's such an infinite stages that it's like you get out of it what you put into it, right? So it's like those prompts. But I think it's like, when you talk back about like marketing and building a brand and like starting a business and, it comes down to confidence. So do
Mm-hmm.
you find a lot of these founders come in and they're confident, or do you feel that sometimes they're a little jaded?
Yeah.
Because it's you don't just start a business and make money. You start a business, you go into massive freaking debt, and then you start making money.
Right. It's like pushing a boulder up a road, right? Like up a
Yes.
mountain. Like go,
Yeah.
and then it falls 10 feet and you have to then try again.
Been there, trust me.
Totally. Totally. Yes. And normally from what I've seen, they are very confident about their product or their service. They know that it works. They feel good about what they're doing. The lack of confidence comes in when you're a founder, you have to wear 100 hats, right? You
Yeah.
have to
Oh,
be yeah, the deliverer of the service, but then you also have to be the marketer and you have to be the COO and the CEO and the accountant. And hopefully you have a CPA that you can then leverage.
yeah.
And you're leveraging AI. So now you're managing all of that. And hopefully maybe you have a VA, but otherwise you're doing all of these things yourself. That's where I see the confidence lacking because the expectation is that we are experts now once we wear the entrepreneur hat, we're expert of all the things, and that's not realistic. That's not fair.
Well, right. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and I had this, in my early days too, was like it's trying to do everything when
Mhm.
instead of it's
Mhm.
focusing on what you are good at and then almost, learning how to
Right.
delegate those responsibilities and trusting yourself that you're going to pick the right person and it's like surrendering control,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is applies to like I feel like business and marketing and branding applies to like every area of
Yes.
life, no matter what you're doing. It's like everything is so similar. We're all so similar. We're all
Mhm.
just like nobody really, this is what I always tell that like puts me at peace and puts so many other people at peace. It's like nobody knows what the hell they're doing. They really don't. Some just know how to talk about it. Everybody's just trying to figure out this game that we're in called life. Everybody's trying to be seen. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to feel important. We're all at the end of the day, we're in the same game, wanting the same things. We shit the same. We put on our pants the same. We're no different. So it's like when you start to lose your confidence, just remember nobody has their shit figured out. They're all
Yeah.
just figuring it out. But it's those who took the bet and were
Mhm.
able to like delegate and also able to trust and surrender that like make the difference.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mindset that plays into to what you do,
Right.
you
And
know?
anything with marketing and with life is iterating, right? So you have to make a decision. You have to take a path A, path B, and then see how that worked. And from those lessons, then go to the next step, right? If you are in this analysis paralysis, uh, environment in which you're trying to make the perfect choice in order to be able to move forward, you're never going to, and you're never going to,
Yes.
right? So
That's what people wait to start until everything's perfect.
nope.
I'm going to get it this way and this way. Sometimes you have to
Right.
just, because if you wait till it's perfect, first of all, perfect
Mhm.
doesn't exist. It should be a word that's eliminated from the dictionary to
Mhm.
begin with. You're never going to start.
Yeah, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to
Well,
be
it doesn't
perfect.
exist.
Yeah, agreed. So then the question really becomes is what is the outcome that I'm trying to get from this action that I am taking at this point? What is the lesson? What is the assumption that I'm validating? So anytime we work with anything marketing related, anything strategy related, even business model related, we focus on assumptions, right? You are making as a
Right.
business owner the assumption that X offer at X price is going to sell to X customer. We don't know until you actually go and try to sell that offer to that customer at that price. We don't know if that's true. And it may not be exactly that offer, and it may not be exactly that price. And maybe you find out that that customer is not the one that's willing to pay, but you'll learn from that experience that with a tweak, this other person with this type of pain point is. Um, and if you spend so much time in the building phase in making sure it's perfect, that's devastating once you get to that point and you're validating that assumption and then it falls apart. So no.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So what do you feel as an entrepreneur, or somebody who's had a business exit, which is like every entrepreneur's dream, right? Um, what would you tell people before we kind of wrap up? Like, what are the key things if you're looking to start a business or build your business? What are the key takeaways you'd want people to take from you? Like,
Yeah.
why would I call you?
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, I was like, oh, maybe that's two different answers, but no, actually, the biggest takeaway is that you don't have to do it alone. You really don't. Entrepreneurship can be very isolating. You feel like you have to figure it out. You talked about delegating. At the beginning, you may not be able to delegate, and that's okay.
Right.
You
Money,
know,
yeah.
yes, it's okay. It's okay. I bootstrapped my first business, zero debt. And I'm doing the same thing for my second business. That's really important to me. But that means that my resources are very limited.
Mhm.
Some other people may not feel that way. Some other people may be willing to take more risk or invest some of their own, funds into it or go into debt or go crowdfunding. Totally okay. Either way, there's no right or wrong. But ultimately, you don't have to do it alone. So if you're stuck, the way that I really work with clients is I am their marketing partner through and through.
Yeah.
So when you're not ready to hire a CMO yet for your business, which most businesses under 10 years old, they're not really at that stage yet. But they need the accountability, they need the support, they need to know that they are heading in the right direction, and they need someone to actually help implement these things. That is really where I show up. And I do that
Yeah.
because I want to get them to the point where they can hire a CMO, right? Like that is the
So you're
ultimate.
like the CMO in place until
Yeah,
they can
fractional
afford.
CMO. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yep,
that.
yep, absolutely. And then I also work with founders in sprints. So these are 2 week sprints where we are very targeted in what we're trying to accomplish. So I know that I have brand awareness, but I have a bottleneck in my marketing funnel, which is lead gen. So I'm getting eyeballs, but I'm not getting people to connect. They're not signing up for my newsletter. They're not actually getting the discount code or following me on social. How do we break that disconnect so that then you can go into the next step of the funnel? So we work in 2 week sprints. Maybe founders are not at a stage where they can hire a fractional CMO yet. So, it's like stepping stones, that pushing that stone up that boulder up the hill. And so we are trying to figure out one bottleneck together. It's quick, it's high touch. Everything I do, it's like, we're going to do it together. This is not I'm telling you what to do, now go figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. So it kind of gives them that confidence that they need and the knowledgeable because marketing is everything.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is. Even if you're a finance company or a skincare company, like if you're not connecting with your customers and building trust, and I love what you said is, it's like it is building those trust and understanding your customer from
Mhm.
not just a demographic standpoint, but really from their pain points.
Yeah.
Who are you targeting? And they say this like, in the book world, because I'm in the book world too. It's if, you can't sit there and say like, oh, it's for everybody. Everybody could use this.
Right.
It's just too much, right? So
Right.
it's like it's really being specific. Who is
Yeah.
that person? Oh, it's a person that, wants to, connect and live in this fantasy world or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I love that. So where can people find you and all that stuff since you're not on social
Absolutely.
media?
I know. Or LinkedIn. Definitely connect with me on LinkedIn.
Okay,
And
share the
also,
episode on LinkedIn so everyone can
there you
connect.
go. Yes, absolutely. You can also go to marketingwithmari.com, and I have a free marketing roadmap, 5-day challenge that you can definitely take to try to figure out where that bottleneck is so that
Oh,
you
I
know
love
exactly
that.
what to address. So you have that at marketingwithmari.com. And yeah, definitely LinkedIn. I will say one more thing that made me think of what you just said, an Aristotle quote that says, "A friend to all is a friend to none." So think about that when you're thinking about your marketing, that you really need to figure out who your customer is. How are you going to talk specific to that
Yeah.
person and connect with them, and then then you can grow, right? Like it doesn't mean you're stuck in that one area, but you got to start there.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We got a marketing, branding, business education, which is it's a podcast to make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. So hopefully this will make you wealthier and healthier because you'll have more money it makes you everything, whatever. Anyways, thank you so much, Mari, for being on the show. And thank you to everybody who's listening, wherever you may be. We will see you next time to find out who's next. Bye.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.